Chapter 1. Rethinking the Millionaire Myth. When you hear the word millionaire, what image comes to mind? Maybe you picture a glamorous lifestyle. Sports cars purring through gated communities, massive mansions with golden chandeliers, designer suits, luxury vacations, and champagne-filled nights. That's the picture we've been fed for years by movies, social media, and advertising. Wealth, in that story, is all about the flash. But here's the truth that may surprise you. Most millionaires don't look anything like that. In fact, many of them are your neighbors. They live in modest homes. They drive cars that are several years old. They grocery shop with coupons, eat leftovers, and often choose to blend in rather than stand out. Pause and ask yourself this. If the wealthiest person in your neighborhood isn't the one flaunting it, who might it really be? The truth is, wealth often hides in plain sight. It doesn't shout. It whispers. I want you to think about something powerful. If flashy wealth is just an illusion, and true wealth is built quietly, then what does that mean for you? It means that becoming financially free is not only possible, it's possible without ever needing to be flashy or pretend. The millionaire myth, the one sold to you by advertisers and influencers, keeps people chasing the wrong goal. They chase the appearance of wealth instead of wealth itself. That's why so many people get stuck. They buy the expensive car as soon as they get a raise. They stretch themselves into a mortgage they can barely afford. They try to keep up with people who may, in truth, be drowning in debt. Let's make something clear right here in Chapter 1. High income doesn't mean high wealth, and looking rich doesn't mean being rich. Pause again and reflect. Am I chasing real wealth or just the appearance of wealth? Now, let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine once introduced me to two men who lived in the same suburban neighborhood. Let's call them James and Michael. James was the guy everyone assumed was successful. He drove a luxury car, always wore designer clothing, and constantly posted vacation pictures from exotic locations. His home was massive, beautifully decorated, and filled with the latest gadgets. People whispered, "Wow, James must be loaded." Michael, on the other hand, drove an older pickup truck, mowed his own lawn, and lived in a modest house. He was friendly but unassuming. He rarely talked about money, and when he did, he kept it practical. Here's the twist. James was drowning in debt. Every dollar he earned went right out the door in payments, car loans, credit cards, and a massive mortgage. Meanwhile, Michael quietly had over $3 million invested, owned multiple rental properties, and had no debt. He could retire tomorrow if he wanted to. Now ask yourself, who was the real millionaire next door? The lesson here is simple but powerful. Real wealth doesn't need to announce itself. It is built in silence, with patience, discipline, and consistency. This is the beginning of rethinking what being rich really means. It's not about spending more. It's about needing less. It's not about chasing status. It's about creating security. It's not about impressing strangers. It's about providing freedom for yourself and your family. And let me share this. Once you begin to see through the millionaire myth, the world starts to look different. Suddenly, you notice how many people are trapped in a cycle of trying to look rich. And at the same time, you realize how many opportunities you have to quietly build your own path to true wealth. Here's a practical exercise for you right now. Pause this audio after I ask this question and really think about it. What would I do differently if I didn't care what anyone thought about my lifestyle? Would you buy a smaller house? Drive a simpler car? Save more? Invest sooner? Think about that, because the moment you stop chasing the illusion, you start building the reality. Now, here's why this matters for you. Because if you've been chasing the wrong picture of wealth, you'll always feel behind. But if you start chasing real wealth, freedom, independence, security, you'll feel empowered. You'll know that each decision you make is building a foundation that will last. This is why so many ordinary people, teachers, small business owners, mechanics, and even janitors, end up becoming millionaires. Not because they had flashy salaries, not because they got lucky, but because they lived differently, thought differently, and built differently. And that's what this book is about. Over the next 16 chapters, we're going to dive deep into the principles, habits, and strategies that help everyday people quietly build extraordinary wealth. You'll learn how to separate the myth from the truth, how to take control of your money, and how to design a life of financial freedom that actually lasts. But let's make a deal. As we go through this journey together, I want you to participate. Don't just listen. Reflect. Pause when I ask you a question. Answer it honestly in your mind. Or even better, write it down. And because this is on YouTube, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What does wealth mean to you? What's the biggest myth about money you once believed? Let's start a conversation. And hey, if you find value in this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter. This is more than just a book, it's a movement, and you're part of it now. So let's end this first chapter with a truth that will guide everything else. Wealth is not what you see. Wealth is what you don't see. The millionaire myth says wealth is about cars, houses, and labels. The reality says wealth is about freedom, choices, and peace of mind. Which one will you chase? That decision, my friend, is where your journey begins. Chapter 2. The Foundation of Financial Independence. Let's start with a question. What does financial independence mean to you? For some, it means never worrying about bills again. For others, it's the freedom to quit a job they hate, travel the world, or spend more time with family. And for some, it's simply knowing that no matter what happens, recession, job loss, medical emergency, they'll be okay. Pause and ask yourself right now, if money were no longer a source of stress in your life, what would change for you today? The truth is, financial independence isn't about having a certain dollar amount in the bank. It's about control. Control over your time, your choices, and your future. And here's the good news. You don't need to be a genius, win the lottery, or inherit millions to get there. You need a foundation, a set of habits, principles, and strategies that ordinary people use to achieve extraordinary financial stability. Let's talk about those foundations. 1. Spending less than you earn. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But this is the cornerstone of wealth. If you spend everything you earn, you'll never build wealth. If you spend more than you earn, you're not just standing still, you're moving backward into debt. Think about this. Every dollar you don't spend is a soldier you can send out into the world to fight for your financial freedom. Those soldiers, when invested, multiply and bring back reinforcements. Over time, an army grows. That's how wealth is built. Reflection moment. If I tracked every dollar I spent last month, how many of those dollars worked for me? And how many simply disappeared? 2. Avoiding the debt trap. Debt is one of the greatest enemies of financial independence. When you borrow money, you're not only giving away your future income, you're also paying interest, which means your money is working for someone else instead of you. Now, not all debt is equal. A mortgage on a modest home? That can be manageable. A loan for an investment that generates income? Potentially wise. But consumer debt, credit cards, luxury car loans, financing gadgets, that's a trap designed to keep you poor. Pause and ask yourself, am I working for my money, or is my money working for someone else's interest payments? 3. Building an emergency fund. Here's the truth. Life is unpredictable. Cars break down. Medical bills arrive. Jobs vanish overnight. Without a financial cushion, one unexpected event can wipe out years of progress. That's why having an emergency fund, even just a few months of expenses, is a non-negotiable part of the foundation. Think of it this way. An emergency fund is not just money. It's peace of mind. It's knowing you won't be forced into debt when life throws a curveball. Exercise. If an emergency happened today, how many months could I cover without borrowing money? Write that number down. That's your starting point. 4. Paying yourself first. Most people pay everyone else before they pay themselves. They pay landlords, banks, utility companies, restaurants, and retailers. And by the time they think about saving, there's nothing left. But millionaires flip that script. They pay themselves first. Before the bills, before the shopping, before anything else, they set aside money for savings and investments. This single habit transforms everything. Because when you pay yourself first, you guarantee progress toward your future. When you don't, you gamble it away. Pause. What if I decided today that I would save at least 10% of every paycheck before touching the rest? How would my life look a year from now? 5. Investing early and often. Here's something wealthy people understand. You don't have to time the market. You just have to be in it. The earlier you start investing, the more time your money has to grow. Compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, as Einstein supposedly called it, is your silent partner in building wealth. Imagine this. If you save $500 a month starting at age 25 and invest it wisely, by age 65 you could have well over $1 million. But if you wait until age 40 to start, you'd need to save nearly 3 times as much per month to catch up. The lesson? Time is wealth's best friend. Don't wait. Start now. 6. Mindset over money. Let's be clear. Money is not just math. If it were, we'd all be rich. Money is emotional. It's tied to fear, pride, desire, and even shame. That's why mindset matters just as much as numbers. Financial independence begins with believing that you can achieve it, regardless of where you're starting. It requires patience when you want instant gratification, discipline when temptation calls, and resilience when setbacks happen. Reflection. When I think about money, do I feel hopeful or fearful? And how is that belief shaping my decisions today? The foundation in action. Let me share a real story. A woman I'll call Sarah was a school teacher. She never made more than $45,000 a year. But from the very beginning of her career, she built her foundation. She lived modestly, avoided debt, saved consistently, and invested every month, even if it was just a little. At age 60, Sarah wasn't just surviving. She had accumulated over $1.2 million in investments. She owned her home outright. She traveled when she wanted to, gave generously, and lived with peace of mind. Sarah wasn't a financial genius. She wasn't born into wealth. She simply built her life on the foundation we just talked about. Now pause and reflect. If Sarah could do it on a modest salary, what's stopping me? Your call to action. The foundation of financial independence is not glamorous. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. But it works. And it works for ordinary people just like you. So here's your challenge. Over the next week, track your spending. Write it down. See where your money goes. Then ask yourself, which of these dollars are building my foundation and which are crumbling it? And because this is YouTube, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one step you can take this week to strengthen your financial foundation? Is it cutting an expense? Starting an emergency fund? Finally opening that investment account? Share it, because when you write it down, you make it real. And if you're finding value in this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss Chapter 3. Because in the next chapter, we're going to dive into one of the most misunderstood but powerful principles of wealth, the power of living below your means. That's where the quiet millionaires truly separate themselves from the crowd. Chapter 3. The Power of Living Below Your Means. Let me start with a story. A young man once came to me and said, "I don't understand it. I make 6 figures, but I'm always broke. My lifestyle feels like a treadmill I can't get off." And then he asked the golden question, what am I doing wrong? The answer? He was living at his means, or worse, beyond them. Every time his income grew, his lifestyle grew right along with it. A raise meant a bigger apartment. A bonus meant a nicer car. A promotion meant luxury vacations. On the outside, he looked successful. On the inside, he was one paycheck away from collapse. Now contrast that with another man I knew. He earned half as much. He drove an older car, lived in a modest house, and rarely upgraded his lifestyle. Instead, he poured his extra money into savings and investments. 10 years later, the first man was still broke, and the second was financially free. Here's the lesson. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep. Pause and ask yourself, am I using my income to buy freedom or to buy things that disappear? Why living below your means works. Living below your means is one of the oldest, simplest, and most effective wealth strategies. It's also one of the least popular because it requires humility and patience in a world that glorifies excess. But here's the truth. If you consistently spend less than you earn, you create margin. And that margin is where wealth grows. It allows you to save, invest, pay off debt, and weather unexpected storms. Without margin, even the highest income crumbles. Think of it like building a house. Your income is the wood, bricks, and concrete. But if you use every single piece to build the walls, you'll have nothing left for the roof. Living below your means ensures you always have resources left over to protect what you're building. Breaking the cycle of more. Let's talk about a trap called lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation happens when your expenses rise with your income. You get a raise, so you eat out more. You get a promotion, so you move into a bigger home. You start making good money, so you finance a new car. Each upgrade feels justified. After all, you've earned it, right? But here's the problem. The upgrades never end. And soon, no matter how much you make, it's never enough. Pause for reflection. If I suddenly doubled my income tomorrow, would I double my savings or double my spending? Choosing freedom over flex. There's a quote I love. Too many people buy things they don't need, with money they don't have, to impress people they don't even like. Living below your means is about choosing freedom over flex. It's about realizing that financial independence will always be more valuable than temporary applause. That 10 seconds of admiration for your new gadget or car will fade, but the peace of mind that comes from being financially secure will last a lifetime. The silent superpower. Here's a perspective shift. Living below your means isn't deprivation. It's a superpower. It gives you flexibility. It gives you choices. It gives you the ability to say no. Think about it. If your boss mistreats you and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're trapped. But if you live below your means and have savings, you can walk away. That's power. If your car breaks down and you have no financial cushion, you're stressed. But if you've been living modestly and saving, it's just an inconvenience. That's freedom. The silent superpower of living below your means is not just money in the bank, it's peace in your heart. Practical ways to live below your means. Let's get practical. Here are strategies you can apply starting today. Automate savings. Have a portion of your income go directly into savings or investments before you even see it. What you don't see, you won't spend. Drive modest cars. Cars lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. Millionaires know this, which is why so many of them drive used or average vehicles. Avoid lifestyle comparisons. Stop comparing your life to others on social media. Remember, people post their highlights, not their credit card bills. Practice the 24-hour rule. Before making any non-essential purchase, wait 24 hours. You'll be surprised how many must-haves don't feel so urgent the next day. Ask the freedom question. Before every purchase, ask yourself, does this bring me closer to freedom or farther away? A true millionaire's example. I once met a man who was worth over $10 million. Want to know what he drove? A 10-year-old Honda Accord. When I asked him why, he smiled and said, because it runs. Why would I pay more just to impress someone at a red light? That's the mindset. Quiet confidence. Zero need to prove anything. His wealth spoke for him, but the truth is, nobody could see it. And that was the point. Now pause and ask yourself, what purchases in my life are purely for appearances? If I stopped caring what people thought, How would I spend differently? The compounding effect of modesty. Here's where the magic happens. The dollars you don't spend today don't just sit in your account. When invested, they multiply. That $300 you saved by driving a modest car? Invested over 20 years, it could grow to thousands. That $50 dinner you skipped once a week? Over decades, it could be the difference between retiring broke and retiring free. Living below your means isn't about denying yourself forever. It's about planting seeds that grow into financial forests. Your challenge this week. Here's your challenge. Choose one area of your life where you can cut back, not to punish yourself, but to redirect money toward your freedom. Maybe it's skipping one night out. Maybe it's downgrading a subscription. Maybe it's brewing coffee at home instead of buying it daily. Take the money you save, and instead of letting it disappear, transfer it to savings or investments immediately. Watch how quickly those small choices add up. And here's the YouTube challenge. Comment below and tell me one area of your life where you could live just a little bit below your means. Inspire someone else who's watching this video with your answer. And of course, if you're finding value, remember to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for future chapters. Living below your means is not a punishment. It's a privilege. It means you're wise enough to value freedom over vanity. It means you're strong enough to say no to the crowd and yes to your future. So here's the takeaway. Every dollar you save today is a brick in the foundation of your freedom tomorrow. Build wisely. In the next chapter, we'll tackle a common misconception: why income does not equal wealth, and how to shift your focus from how much you earn to how much you keep. Chapter 4. Income versus wealth. Spot the difference. Let me ask you a question. If someone earns $250,000 a year, are they wealthy? Most people would quickly answer yes. $250,000 a year sounds impressive. But here's the twist. What if that same person spends $260,000 a year? Suddenly, despite the big paycheck, they're broke and sinking deeper into debt. Now picture another person who earns $60,000 a year but spends only $40,000. They save and invest the difference, year after year. Over time, their wealth grows steadily. Who's truly wealthy in the long run? This is the great misunderstanding. Income is not the same as wealth. Pause and ask yourself, am I focused more on my income or on actually building wealth? The illusion of high income. Our society loves to celebrate high earners. Doctors, lawyers, tech executives, influencers. The spotlight shines on their salaries. But hidden behind those numbers is the truth. High income without control often leads to financial slavery, not freedom. Consider the doctor who earns $500,000 a year but has student loans, a massive mortgage, luxury car payments, and private school tuition. On paper, they look rich. In reality, they're stressed, stretched, and secretly terrified of losing their job. Now contrast that with the small business owner who makes a modest income but manages it wisely. They have no debt, consistent savings, and multiple streams of income. They sleep better at night than the high-earning doctor who can't afford to stop working. Here's the truth. Wealth is not what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. Defining true wealth. Wealth is measured in time, not just money. Ask yourself this: if my paycheck stopped tomorrow, how long could I sustain my lifestyle without going into debt? That's your real wealth indicator. For some, the answer is a week. For others, it's a month. For the quietly wealthy, it could be years, or even forever. Wealth is freedom. It's the ability to live life on your terms. Income, on the other hand, is a tool. It's important, but it's not the goal. The trap of lifestyle inflation. Here's the danger of focusing only on income. The more you earn, the more tempted you are to spend. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation, the tendency to quickly get used to new luxuries and crave more. You get a raise and upgrade your car. Soon the car feels normal, so you upgrade your house. Then your house feels normal, so you chase vacations, gadgets, and memberships. Before long, no amount of income feels enough. Pause for reflection. Am I chasing higher income to buy freedom, Or just to finance a bigger lifestyle? Building wealth, regardless of income. Here's something powerful. You don't need a huge income to build wealth. What you need is discipline, strategy, and patience. Take Ronald Reed, a Vermont janitor and gas station attendant. He never made more than a modest wage, yet when he passed away in 2014, he shocked the world by leaving behind an estate worth over $8 million. How? He lived simply, saved consistently, and invested wisely. He focused on wealth, not income. Contrast that with countless celebrities who earned millions but died broke. The difference wasn't how much they made, it was how they managed it. Practical shifts you can make. So how can you focus on wealth instead of just income? Measure net worth, not just paychecks. Your true wealth is your net worth, assets minus liabilities. Track it. Watch it grow. That's your scoreboard. Prioritize saving rate. A person who saves 30% of a $60,000 salary is building wealth faster than someone who saves 5% of a $200,000 salary. Focus on the percentage, not just the amount. Invest consistently. Don't let your money sit idle. Put it to work in stocks, bonds, real estate, or other vehicles that build long-term value. Beware of lifestyle traps. Every time your income increases, resist the urge to inflate your lifestyle. Instead, inflate your investments. Pause and ask yourself, if my income suddenly doubled, how much of that money would I save instead of spend? A story of two neighbors. Let's paint a picture. John earns $200,000 a year. He drives a luxury car, has a big mortgage, and spends lavishly on dining and entertainment. At the end of the year, he's left with barely $5,000 in savings. His neighbor, Lisa, earns $70,000 a year. She drives a modest car, lives in a comfortable but affordable home, and cooks most of her meals at home. She saves $15,000 a year and invests it. 20 years later, John is still working, stressed about retirement. Lisa, on the other hand, is financially independent, enjoying the fruits of her discipline. Here's the truth. Lisa, not John, is the real millionaire next door. Your challenge. This week, I challenge you to calculate your wealth ratio. Step 1. Add up your total income for the year. Step 2. Add up how much you actually saved and invested. Step 3. Divide your savings by your income. That's your savings rate. The higher the percentage, the faster you're building wealth, no matter your income. Now, jump into the comments below and share your savings rate if you're comfortable. Even if it's small, that's okay. Remember, awareness is the first step toward growth. And if you're finding this series valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for future chapters, and hit the bell so you never miss the next step on this journey. The takeaway: high income is impressive, but wealth is life-changing. Don't chase bigger paychecks just to spend more. Chase freedom. Chase independence. Chase the ability to design your life without fear. Because in the end, it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. In the next chapter, we're going to explore the very mindset that makes this possible. The millionaire mindset. The mental habits that separate those who stay broke from those who quietly build lasting wealth. Chapter 5. The millionaire mindset. We've talked about spending, saving, and the difference between income and wealth. But here's the truth. None of those strategies matter if you don't first master what's happening in your mind. Because wealth doesn't begin in your bank account. Wealth begins in your mindset. Pause and ask yourself, what do I really believe about money? Why mindset matters more than math? If building wealth were just about math, everyone would be rich. The formula is simple. Spend less than you earn, save, and invest. But people don't fail because they can't do math. They fail because emotions, habits, and beliefs get in the way. Think about it. You know that credit card debt is dangerous, but maybe you've still swiped it for something you couldn't afford. You know you should be saving more, but sometimes that new gadget feels irresistible. You know investing early is powerful, but fear holds you back. The difference between those who succeed financially and those who don't is rarely knowledge. It's mindset. The core traits of a millionaire mindset. So what exactly is a millionaire mindset? Let's break it down. Delayed gratification. Millionaires understand that waiting pays off. Instead of needing everything now, they're willing to wait, save, and let wealth grow over time. Discipline over desire. While others chase every impulse, millionaires build discipline into their daily lives. They say no when others say yes. They focus when others drift. Long-term vision. They think in decades, not days. They're not obsessed with quick wins, but with steady growth over time. Ownership of decisions. Millionaires don't blame the government, the economy, or luck for their situation. They take full responsibility for their financial choices. Continuous learning. They read, listen, and study. They know money is a skill, and skills can be improved with knowledge. Pause for reflection. Which of these traits do I already practice, and which do I need to develop further? Shifting from consumer to investor. Most people operate with a consumer mindset. They think, how can I spend this money? What can I buy today? The millionaire mindset shifts that question. How can I make this dollar grow? How can I invest this money so it works for me? This one shift changes everything. Instead of money being something you spend, it becomes a tool you multiply. Overcoming fear and scarcity. One of the biggest barriers to wealth is fear. Fear of losing money. Fear of failing? Fear of looking foolish. But here's the irony. The fear of losing money keeps people broke. They avoid investing. They avoid taking opportunities. They cling to cash, which loses value to inflation. The millionaire mindset flips this. Instead of living in fear, it embraces abundance. It says, there's always more money to earn, more opportunities to seize, more wealth to create. Reflection. Do I live from a place of fear or a place of abundance? The power of self-identity. Here's something fascinating. Your identity shapes your behavior. If you see yourself as bad with money, you'll act in ways that reinforce that identity. If you see yourself as disciplined, you'll naturally act more disciplined. The millionaire mindset starts with identity. They say, I am the kind of person who manages money wisely. I am the kind of person who invests consistently. I am the kind of person who chooses freedom over flex. And then, they act in alignment with that identity. Pause and ask yourself, how do I describe myself when it comes to money? And how is that story shaping my reality? A tale of two friends. Let me tell you a quick story. Two friends, Alex and David, started out with the same job and income. Alex had a scarcity mindset. He was always afraid there wouldn't be enough. He overspent when he felt stressed, avoided investing because it felt risky, and blamed the economy for his situation. David, on the other hand, adopted a millionaire mindset early on. He saved consistently, invested modestly but regularly, and stayed disciplined even when tempted. Fast forward 20 years. Alex was still struggling, paycheck to paycheck. David had quietly built financial independence. What made the difference? Not luck, not income, not intelligence. It was mindset. Practical steps to build the millionaire mindset. Rewrite your money story. Take out a piece of paper and write down every belief you have about money. Then ask, is this belief helping me build wealth or holding me back? Practice gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. Instead of saying, I don't have enough, you begin saying, I have more than enough and I'm building more. Visualize your future. Spend time each day imagining your life as financially free. What choices would you make? How would you spend your time? This keeps your vision clear. Surround yourself with growth. Listen to podcasts, read books, and follow people who encourage smart financial habits. Your environment shapes your mindset. Build habits, not just goals. Instead of saying, I want to be rich, say, I will save 20% of every paycheck. Wealth comes from habits repeated daily. Your challenge. Here's your challenge this week. Write down one limiting belief you've carried about money. Maybe it's, I'll never get ahead, or money is too complicated, or I'm just not good with money. Now, rewrite that belief into an empowering one. For example, I'll never get ahead becomes, every small step I take is moving me forward. Money is too complicated becomes, I can learn money skills like any other skill. I'm just not good with money becomes, I'm becoming better with money every day. Then share your rewritten belief in the comments below. You might inspire someone else who needs to hear it. And of course, if you're getting value, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the rest of this series. The takeaway. The millionaire mindset is not about being smarter or luckier than everyone else. It's about thinking differently, believing differently, and acting differently. Because wealth doesn't just live in numbers, it lives in the choices you make every single day. In the next chapter, we'll take these mindset principles and put them into action by learning how to build wealth brick by brick, step by step, in a way that's achievable for anyone. Chapter 6. Building wealth brick by brick. When people think about wealth, they often imagine it arriving all at once. A lottery win, a massive inheritance, a lucky business deal. But in reality, wealth rarely shows up in a single dramatic moment. Most of the time, wealth is built slowly, steadily, and quietly. Brick by brick, step by step, choice by choice. Pause and ask yourself, am I waiting for a financial miracle? Or am I laying bricks every day? The power of small steps. Think about building a wall. At first, laying one brick feels insignificant. Then another, then another. It's slow, and progress feels invisible. But keep going long enough, and suddenly you step back and see something solid, unshakable, and strong. Wealth works the same way. The small steps you take today, saving $10, investing $100, saying no to a purchase you don't need, may feel tiny. But over time, they compound into something extraordinary. The truth is, wealth is not a one-time event. It's the result of consistent action repeated over years. Why consistency beats intensity. Here's a mistake many people make. They try to build wealth with bursts of intensity. They save aggressively for 3 months, then burn out and stop. They invest for a year, then pull their money out when the market dips. Millionaires, on the other hand, value consistency over intensity. They know that steady, disciplined effort, even if it seems small, outpaces dramatic but inconsistent bursts. Pause for reflection. Am I approaching money with consistency, or am I starting and stopping based on my emotions? The building blocks of wealth. So what are the actual bricks of wealth? Let's break them down. Savings discipline. Every brick wall begins with a foundation. For wealth, that foundation is savings. Not glamorous, not exciting, but essential. Investments that grow. Once you've saved, you invest. Stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses. These are the bricks that multiply over time. Avoiding debt traps. Each time you avoid unnecessary debt, you're reinforcing the strength of your wall. Debt doesn't just remove bricks, it weakens the entire structure. Multiple streams of income. Millionaires often build wealth through more than one income stream. A career, a side hustle, investments. Each stream is another layer of bricks. Patience and time. The mortar that holds all the bricks together is patience. Without time, even the strongest bricks can't form a wall. The magic of compounding. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said it or not, the point remains. Compounding is the quiet engine of wealth. Here's a simple example. If you invest $500 a month at a 7% return, after 10 years you'll have around $86,000. After 20 years? Over $250,000. After 30 years? Nearly $600,000. And after 40 years? Over $1.2 million. Same $500 a month. Same person, same choice. But time multiplies the results. Pause and ask yourself, am I giving compounding enough time to work for me? Or am I waiting for the perfect moment to start? A tale of two builders. Let me tell you about two people I once knew, Mark and Kevin. Mark started investing small amounts in his 20s. Nothing huge, just a few hundred a month. He stayed consistent through good times and bad, never pulling out in fear. Kevin, on the other hand, said he'd wait until he was making more money. Decades passed, and he kept waiting for the right time. By the time they were 60, Mark had built a solid wall of wealth worth millions. Kevin? He was still renting, still working, and still saying, "I'll start soon." The difference wasn't income. It wasn't intelligence. It was the decision to lay bricks every day, instead of waiting for perfect conditions. The myth of overnight success. Here's something the media doesn't tell you. Those overnight success stories usually take decades of invisible work. That entrepreneur who sold their company for millions? They spent 20 years grinding before anyone noticed. That investor who retired young? They spent decades investing small amounts consistently. Wealth is like a tree. People only see the fruit. They don't see the years of roots growing underground. Practical action. How to lay bricks. Every day, automate your savings. Set up automatic transfers so money goes into savings or investments before you can touch it. Start small, grow over time. Even if it's just $50 a month, start. Small bricks still build walls. Track progress. Monthly. Watching your wealth grow, even slowly, keeps you motivated. Celebrate consistency, not size. Don't judge by how much you saved this month. Judge by the fact that you saved at all. Pause and reflect. What's one brick I can lay this week to move closer to financial independence? Your challenge. This week, commit to laying one new brick. Open a savings account. Automate a small transfer. Set up an investment plan. Cancel a subscription and redirect the money into your future. Then, in the YouTube comments, share what brick you laid. It may seem small to you, but it might inspire someone else to start their wall too. And if you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, so you'll be right here with us as we build wealth together. The takeaway: wealth is not built in a day, but it is built daily. Every decision you make is a brick. Every habit you practice is mortar. And over time, those bricks become a wall that can't be shaken by storms, setbacks, or circumstances. The question is, will you lay the bricks today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow? In the next chapter, we'll go beyond money and talk about something equally important: how family and relationships shape wealth. Because becoming the millionaire next door isn't just about numbers. It's about the home you build along the way. Chapter 7. The Millionaire at Home. When we think about building wealth, most of us picture spreadsheets, bank accounts, and investment portfolios. But here's something most people overlook. True wealth often begins at home. Your family, your relationships, your household habits. These shape your financial destiny just as much as your paycheck. Pause and ask yourself, how is my home environment influencing the way I handle money? The hidden influence of family. The way you think about money didn't come from nowhere. It was shaped long before you ever earned your first dollar. You absorbed lessons, spoken or unspoken, from your parents, grandparents, or guardians. Did your family talk openly about money, or was it a taboo subject? Did you see saving and budgeting as normal, or was spending in debt the default? These early patterns leave deep marks. For some, money meant security. For others, it meant stress. For many, it meant silence. But here's the empowering truth. No matter how you were raised, you get to decide what financial legacy you create moving forward. Wealth is a team effort. Inside a household, money isn't just numbers. It's emotions, it's values, it's choices that ripple out into every corner of life. And here's the reality. It's nearly impossible to build wealth if you and your partner aren't on the same page. I've seen couples where one partner saves diligently while the other spends recklessly. It doesn't matter how much they earn. The lack of alignment keeps them stuck. Now compare that with couples who unite around a shared vision. They set goals together. They budget together. They celebrate milestones together. Over time, they don't just build wealth, they build trust. Pause for reflection. If I'm in a relationship, are we pulling in the same financial direction, or are we working against each other? Teaching the next generation. Millionaires don't just think about themselves. They think generationally. They pass down habits, values, and wisdom, so the next generation starts further ahead. Think about it. If you were taught about saving, investing, and debt from a young age, how different would your financial life look today? The earlier kids learn that money is a tool, not a toy, not a taboo, the stronger their foundation will be. Even small lessons like earning an allowance, saving for a toy, or understanding that credit cards aren't free money can plant seeds that grow into financial forests. Reflection. What money lessons am I teaching, directly or indirectly, to the people watching me? The millionaire lifestyle at home. Here's something fascinating. Many millionaires live surprisingly modest home lives. Dinner at the table instead of expensive restaurants. Vacations that prioritize family connection over flashy resorts. Hobbies that don't require constant spending. This isn't about deprivation. It's about values. Millionaires understand that joy doesn't always come with a price tag. They know that peace, connection, and security are worth far more than the latest gadget or brand name. And here's the hidden bonus. Living this way naturally keeps expenses lower, which accelerates wealth building. Breaking the cycle. But what if your home environment hasn't been supportive? What if you grew up in chaos, debt, or financial stress? Then your task is even more important. You have the chance to break the cycle. You can be the one who changes the story, who shifts from scarcity to abundance, from chaos to discipline, from stress to peace. Imagine the pride of not just building wealth for yourself, but also creating a foundation that future generations can build upon. That's legacy. Pause and ask yourself, am I repeating the money patterns I grew up with, or am I rewriting them? Practical steps to build a wealth-friendly home. Communicate openly. Talk about money with your partner or family. Don't let silence breed confusion or resentment. Set shared goals. Whether it's buying a home, paying off debt, or saving for college, create goals everyone can rally around. Model good habits. Kids learn more from what you do than what you say. Let them see you save, budget, and make smart choices. Simplify lifestyle choices. Choose family traditions and fun that don't revolve around spending. Game nights, nature trips, simple meals. Celebrate milestones together. Paid off a debt? Saved your first $10,000? Celebrate as a family. Build pride around financial wins. A real story of family wealth. I once met a man named Carlos. He wasn't flashy, didn't own a fancy car, and worked as a mechanic for 40 years. But when he passed away, his children discovered he'd built a net worth of over $2 million. How? By living modestly, investing steadily, and, most importantly, teaching his children those same values. Today, his kids aren't just beneficiaries of his money. They're beneficiaries of his mindset. That's the power of family wealth. It multiplies not just in accounts, but in attitudes. Your challenge. Here's your challenge this week. Have one meaningful money conversation at home. If you're with a partner, talk openly about your financial goals and challenges. If you have kids, teach them one simple money lesson, like the value of saving or how interest works. If you live alone, reflect on the habits you inherited and which ones you want to keep or leave behind. Then, drop a comment below, sharing one money lesson you learned from your family, good or bad. You might be surprised how many people share the same experiences. And of course, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chapters on this journey to financial freedom. The takeaway: the millionaire next door isn't just built in banks or businesses, they're built at home. In the daily choices, the quiet lessons, and the family values that shape a lifetime. Wealth built alone is fragile. Wealth built in a family is enduring. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into a fascinating concept: stealth wealth. Why the richest people often choose to stay invisible, and how that choice protects both their money and their peace of mind. Chapter 8. Stealth wealth. Picture this. You're walking through a grocery store. A man in front of you wears faded jeans, a plain t-shirt, and sneakers that have seen better days. He's pushing a cart filled with regular items: milk, bread, maybe some store-brand cereal. Nothing about him stands out. But here's the secret. That man could be worth millions. This is the quiet truth of money. The wealthiest people are often the least flashy. Pause and ask yourself, am I trying to look rich? Or am I actually working to become rich? The psychology of modesty. Why do so many millionaires choose to stay invisible? Because they understand something most people don't. Showing off is expensive. Every designer label, luxury car, and extravagant vacation comes at a cost. And often, it's a cost that slows down wealth building. Stealth wealth is not about deprivation. It's about priorities. It's about valuing freedom, security, and peace of mind over temporary applause. The cost of showing off. Here's the harsh reality. Many people who appear wealthy are simply skilled at spending. The luxury car? Leased? The mansion? Mortgaged? The exotic vacations? Paid with credit cards. Meanwhile, the millionaire next door quietly builds wealth by doing the opposite. They buy reliable cars, live in homes they can comfortably afford, and avoid chasing every shiny upgrade. They know that every dollar not spent on status is a dollar invested in freedom. Pause and reflect. What part of my lifestyle exists just to impress others? The freedom of being underestimated. Stealth wealth has another hidden benefit: freedom. When you don't broadcast your wealth, you're free from judgment, envy, and expectation. Nobody pressures you for handouts. Nobody questions your every move. Nobody treats you differently because of what you have. Invisibility protects not just your wallet, but your peace of mind. A true story of hidden wealth. Let me tell you about Grace and Henry, a retired couple I once knew. They lived in a modest home, drove cars that were nearly a decade old, and clipped coupons every week. To the outside world, they looked average, maybe even struggling. When they passed away, their children discovered something shocking. Grace and Henry had quietly accumulated over $5 million in savings and investments. They never bragged. They never showed off. They simply lived below their means, invested consistently, and valued freedom over flash. That's stealth wealth in action. Why stealth wealth wins in the long run. Less pressure to compete. If you don't flaunt, you don't invite comparison. More money to grow. Modesty frees up cash to invest and compound. Greater security. Living modestly means fewer financial obligations. Real relationships. People like you for who you are, not what you display. Peace of mind. No need to keep up appearances or maintain an illusion. Pause and ask yourself, would I rather impress strangers today or buy freedom for myself tomorrow? The myth of luxury happiness. Advertisers want you to believe luxury equals happiness, but research tells a different story. Beyond meeting basic needs and a modest level of comfort, more spending doesn't create more joy. In fact, it often creates the opposite: more stress, more debt, more pressure to maintain appearances. Stealth wealth reminds us that happiness isn't for sale. True happiness comes from freedom, health, relationships, and purpose. Things money can support, but never replace. Practical ways to practice stealth wealth. Drive normal cars. Buy reliable, used vehicles. Remember, a car gets you from A to B. Live in a modest home. Don't overextend. A smaller, affordable home often brings more peace than a mansion with massive bills. Keep investments quiet. Your net worth doesn't need to be a conversation starter. Find joy in simplicity. Build traditions, hobbies, and fun that don't revolve around spending. Stop competing. Let go of the urge to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are often broke anyway. The power of saying no. One of the greatest strengths of the stealth wealth mindset is the ability to say no. No to the unnecessary upgrade. No to the pressure of appearances. No to trading tomorrow's freedom for today's flex. This no isn't restrictive. It's liberating. Because every time you say no to flash, you're saying yes to freedom. Pause. What could I say no to this week that would move me closer to real wealth? Your challenge. This week, pick one area of your life where you can practice stealth wealth. Maybe it's choosing a simpler car. Maybe it's saying no to a purchase meant only for appearances. Maybe it's quietly increasing your savings without telling anyone. Then, in the comments below, share your stealth wealth strategy. Inspire others by showing that real strength is in modesty, not flash. And remember, if this message resonates, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next chapter. The takeaway: stealth wealth is not about hiding. It's about freedom. It's about knowing you have enough and not needing to prove it. Because the truth is, the wealthiest people often walk right past you in the grocery store, unnoticed. And maybe one day, that quiet, unassuming millionaire will be you. In the next chapter, we'll talk about something just as powerful and just as dangerous: the hidden cost of lifestyle inflation. Why chasing more often leads to less, and how you can break free from that cycle once and for all. Chapter 9. The hidden cost of lifestyle inflation. Imagine this. You get a raise at work. Suddenly, that old car feels too old. That modest apartment feels too small. That vacation you skipped last year feels overdue. You tell yourself, I deserve it. I've worked hard. And you're right. You do deserve to enjoy your hard work. But here's the trap. If every raise, every bonus, every extra dollar simply leads to more spending, you'll never actually get ahead. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the biggest wealth killers. Pause and ask yourself, when my income increases, do I increase my savings or just my spending? The invisible thief of wealth. Lifestyle inflation sneaks up quietly. It doesn't feel dangerous at first. After all, what's wrong with upgrading a little as you earn more? But here's the problem. Lifestyle upgrades rarely stop at a little. One purchase justifies another. One upgrade normalizes the next. And soon, no matter how much you make, it never feels like enough. That's why so many high-income earners are broke. Their expenses rise just as fast or faster than their income. The psychology behind more. Why does lifestyle inflation happen? It comes down to human nature. Hedonic adaptation. We quickly get used to new luxuries. That new car smell fades, that bigger house feels normal, and soon we crave something else. Social comparison. We compare ourselves to others. If a friend upgrades, we feel pressure to keep up. Deserved reward. After hard work, we feel we've earned a splurge, which easily becomes a habit. Reflection moment. Am I upgrading my lifestyle because it truly adds value? Or just because it's what others expect? The true cost of upgrades. Let's do a quick example. Say you get a $10,000 raise. You could invest that money and over 20 years at a 7% return, watch it grow to nearly $40,000. Or you could use it to upgrade to a luxury car, complete with higher insurance, maintenance, and fuel costs. Which choice builds freedom? Which choice builds stress? The cost of lifestyle inflation isn't just the money you spend, it's the wealth you never build. A tale of two coworkers. I once knew two colleagues, Sam and David. Both earned the same salary. Every time they got a raise, Sam celebrated with upgrades, a bigger apartment, nicer clothes, fancier vacations. David, on the other hand, kept his lifestyle steady. He saved and invested the difference. 20 years later, Sam still lived paycheck to paycheck, only now with nicer things. David, meanwhile, had quietly built a 7-figure portfolio. The difference wasn't their income. It was what they did with their raises. Pause for reflection. When my income grows, do I let my lifestyle grow? Or do I let my wealth grow? How to defeat lifestyle inflation. The good news? You can beat lifestyle inflation with awareness and intentional choices. Here's how. Lock in your lifestyle. Decide on a comfortable but modest lifestyle, and keep it steady even as income rises. Automate savings. First, when you get a raise, increase your savings or investments automatically before you see the extra money. Celebrate creatively. Instead of rewarding yourself with expensive things, reward yourself with experiences, time, or small treats. Use the 50-50 rule. When your income grows, put 50% towards savings, investments, and 50% toward lifestyle upgrades. This way, you enjoy some rewards without losing all the growth. Focus on freedom goals. Tie your financial choices to freedom, not status. Every dollar not spent on more is a dollar buying back your time. The freedom perspective. Here's a question to keep in mind. Would I rather have this upgrade now, or would I rather buy myself years of freedom later? That's the true trade-off. Lifestyle inflation steals not just your money, but your future independence. Your challenge. Here's your challenge this week. Take a look at the last raise or bonus you received. Where did that money go? If it disappeared into lifestyle upgrades, commit to doing things differently next time. If you've got another raise coming soon, plan now to allocate at least half towards savings or investments. Then, drop a comment below and share. What's one lifestyle upgrade you regret? And what would you do differently if you had that money back today? And remember, if you're gaining insight from this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the chapters ahead. The takeaway: lifestyle inflation is a silent thief. It convinces you that progress means spending more, when in reality, progress means keeping more. The millionaires next door know this. They don't let every raise vanish into expenses. They use raises to accelerate freedom. That's why they win in the long run. In the next chapter, we'll explore the wealthy person's playbook, the daily habits and routines that quietly set millionaires apart. Small choices, done consistently, that compound into extraordinary results. Chapter 10. The Wealthy Person's Playbook. If you could peek into the daily lives of millionaires, you might be surprised. You wouldn't always find exotic vacations, designer wardrobes, or luxury cars. What you'd find instead is something far more powerful: ordinary routines, repeated with extraordinary consistency. Because here's the truth. Wealth isn't built by one big decision. It's built by hundreds of small, often invisible choices, repeated day after day, year after year. Pause and ask yourself, what small financial habits am I practicing every single day? And are they building me up or holding me back? Habits over hype. We often think wealth comes from one big breakthrough: the next hot stock, the right business idea, the perfect real estate deal. But most millionaires didn't win the lottery of luck. They won the lottery of discipline. They built simple, repeatable habits that, over time, created extraordinary results. The core habits of everyday millionaires. Let's explore some of the most common daily practices, the playbook, that wealthy people quietly live by. They track their money. Millionaires know where their dollars go. They budget, review accounts, and keep an eye on spending. Not obsessively, but intentionally. Because what you don't measure, you can't manage. They pay themselves first before bills, before shopping, before anything else. They save and invest. This ensures their future comes before their present impulses. They avoid unnecessary debt. Millionaires don't fall for easy payments. They know debt is a chain, and freedom is worth more than convenience. They invest consistently. Whether the market is up or down, they keep investing. Consistency beats timing. They value time over things. Instead of filling their lives with more possessions, they focus on experiences, growth, and relationships. They keep learning. Millionaires are readers, listeners, learners. They understand that knowledge compounds just like money. Pause for reflection. Which of these habits am I already practicing? And which one could I start today? Small choices, big impact. Think about it. One coffee at a cafe costs $5. Brew it at home, and it's maybe 50 cents. That's $4.50 saved. Seems small, right? But if you save that daily and invest it, you could have over $60,000 in 20 years. One small choice, multiplied by time, can change your life. A tale of two routines. Let's look at two different daily routines. Sarah wakes up, buys coffee on the way to work, eats out for lunch, and shops online to reward herself after a long day. She doesn't track expenses, and saving feels impossible. James wakes up, brews his own coffee, packs a simple lunch, and spends 20 minutes each evening reviewing his spending and goals. Instead of online shopping, he invests a small amount automatically each month. At first, the difference seems minor. But over 10 years, James builds tens of thousands in investments, while Sarah builds debt and regret. The difference wasn't income. It was habits. Pause and ask yourself, am I living more like Sarah or James? The power of automation. Here's a secret weapon of wealthy people. They don't rely on willpower alone. They use systems, automatic savings transfers, automatic investments, automatic bill pay. By making the right choices automatic, they remove the temptation to spend money impulsively. Think of it this way. Every time you automate, you're building a financial robot that works for you 24/7 without needing motivation. Protecting daily energy. Millionaires also understand something deeper. Energy is limited. Decision fatigue is real. That's why many of them simplify parts of their lives. Simple wardrobes, consistent routines, clear priorities. Less wasted energy on small choices means more focus for big goals. This applies to money too. Instead of deciding every month whether to save or invest, they set it once and let the system run. Building wealth is boring, and that's the point. Here's a paradox. The wealthiest people often live the boring financial lives. No drama, no gambling on risky schemes, no constant upgrades. Their playbook is simple. Spend less than you earn, save, invest, repeat. And it works. Meanwhile, many who chase excitement, flashy purchases, risky bets, constant upgrades, end up stressed and broke. Pause. Am I looking for excitement with my money or results? Your challenge. This week, pick one new habit to add to your financial playbook. Maybe it's automating savings. Maybe it's reviewing your accounts weekly. Maybe it's reading one book about money this month. Start small. Because the wealthiest people didn't start by overhauling everything. They started with one habit, then added another, brick by brick. Drop a comment below and share the habit you're committing to this week. Your answer might inspire someone else to take their first step. And if you're finding this valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the habits we'll explore in future chapters. The takeaway: wealth is not about luck, and it's not about a one-time windfall. It's about habits. Simple, daily, repeatable habits that quietly transform your life over time. The wealthy person's playbook isn't flashy, it isn't dramatic, but it works. And it will work for you if you commit to it. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the world of smart investing. How millionaires grow their wealth not through gambling, but through steady, wise strategies that anyone can learn. Chapter 11. Smart Money, Smart Investing. Here's a simple truth. You can't save your way to wealth. Saving is essential. It protects you, gives you margin, and forms the foundation. But saving alone will never make you rich. To build true wealth, your money has to work for you. That's where investing comes in. Pause and ask yourself, right now, is my money working for me? Or am I the only one working in this relationship? The millionaire's secret weapon. If you look at nearly every millionaire, one pattern stands out. They invest, consistently, patiently, strategically. They don't rely only on salaries. They don't just let cash sit in a checking account. They understand that wealth multiplies when you put dollars into vehicles that grow over time. The mindset shift from spender to investor. Most people see money as something to spend. Millionaires see money as something to plant. Like seeds in fertile soil, those dollars grow into forests. Slowly at first, then abundantly. This requires a mindset shift. From consumer to investor. From asking, what can I buy today? To, how can I make this dollar grow tomorrow? The basics of smart investing. Now, investing doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, millionaires often keep it simple. Here are some timeless principles they live by. Start early. Time is your most powerful asset. The sooner you begin, the more compounding works its magic. Stay consistent. Invest regularly, regardless of market ups and downs. Millionaires don't panic in downturns. They see them as opportunities. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread investments across stocks, bonds, real estate, and businesses. Diversification protects you from risk. Avoid speculation. Millionaires don't gamble on the next hot tip or trending stock. They focus on steady, proven strategies. Think long-term investing is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Millionaires think in decades, not days. Pause for reflection. Am I treating investing like a long-term partnership or a short-term fling? The magic of compounding. Let's revisit compounding because it truly is the heart of investing. Imagine two friends, Anna and Brian. Anna invests $200 a month starting at age 25. Brian waits until 35 to start, but invests $400 a month. By age 65, Anna, who invested less each month, actually ends up with more money than Brian. Why? Because she gave compounding 10 extra years to work. That's the power of time. Small, consistent investments beat big, delayed ones. Common mistakes to avoid. Even smart people make big mistakes with money. Here are some traps millionaires avoid. Chasing quick riches, day trading, get-rich-quick schemes, and gambling usually end in loss. Panic selling. When markets dip, many people sell in fear. Millionaires stay calm and ride the waves. Ignoring fees. High fees on investments quietly eat away at returns. Millionaires pay attention. Over-leveraging. Borrowing heavily to invest is risky. The wealthy play the long game with patience, not desperation. A story of two investors. I once knew two men, Tom and Rick. Tom invested steadily in index funds for 30 years. He rarely checked the market, rarely panicked, and just kept contributing. Rick, on the other hand, was always chasing the next big thing. Penny stocks, crypto bubbles, can't-miss opportunities. For a while, it seemed like Rick was ahead. But when the dust settled, Tom's boring, consistent strategy had built him true financial independence. Rick was left with stories of what could have been. The lesson? Consistency beats chaos. Practical steps to start smart investing. Open an investment account. Start with retirement accounts like a 401k or IRA if available. If not, a simple brokerage account works. Automate contributions. Set up automatic transfers. Treat investing like a bill you must pay yourself. Choose simple strategies. Index funds and ETFs are favorites for millionaires because they're low-cost and diversified. Educate yourself continuously. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch credible content. Knowledge reduces fear. Play the long game. Commit to decades, not days. Let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Pause and ask yourself, if I started investing $100 a month today, how would my future look in 10 years? 20 years? 30 years? Your challenge. This week, take one step toward becoming an investor. If you don't have an investment account, open one. If you do, set up automatic contributions, even if it's just a small amount. Then, in the comments below, share your action step. Are you starting with your first $50? Are you committing to automating your 401k? Tell us, because your small step might inspire someone else to start too. And if you're finding this series valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next chapter. The takeaway: millionaires don't build wealth by chance. They build it by putting their money to work, steadily, wisely, patiently. Smart investing is not about gambling. It's about planting seeds, protecting them, and letting time multiply the harvest. In the next chapter, we'll explore another path millionaires often take: owning your career and business. Because wealth isn't just about where you put your money, it's also about how you earn it. Chapter 12. Owning your career and business. There's a saying that goes, "Don't just work for money, make money work for you." But here's another truth millionaires understand. Before your money can work for you, you must first learn how to maximize the way you earn. And that begins with taking ownership of your career, or even better, your own business. Pause and ask yourself, am I treating my career like a paycheck or like an engine for wealth? The millionaire's approach to earning. Most millionaires don't stumble into wealth. They build it by focusing not only on saving and investing, but also on increasing their ability to earn. Some climb the ladder in their careers by continuously learning, improving, and seizing opportunities. Others step off the ladder entirely and build their own. They start businesses, often unglamorous ones, and quietly grow them into powerful engines of wealth. The key difference is this: millionaires don't just let their careers happen to them. They take ownership. The power of career ownership. Let's talk about careers first. Many people treat jobs like a trap, something they endure, waiting for weekends or vacations. But millionaires view careers differently. They see each role as a stepping stone, a chance to grow skills, expand their network, and increase their value. That's why they invest in themselves. They read, attend seminars, seek mentors, and never stop learning. Because they know the more valuable they become, the more wealth they can create. Pause for reflection. Am I investing in my own skills the way I invest in stocks or savings? Why many millionaires are business owners. Here's a surprising fact. A large percentage of millionaires are small business owners. And no, we're not talking about flashy startups or Silicon Valley unicorns. Many own ordinary businesses: landscaping companies, plumbing services, accounting firms, car washes, convenience stores. Businesses that most people overlook. These boring businesses often generate steady cash flow, create independence, and allow wealth to grow far beyond what a salary alone could provide. The lesson? You don't need a glamorous idea to build wealth. You need consistency, discipline, and the courage to own something of your own. A tale of two paths. Let me share a story of two friends, Lisa and Mark. And Lisa worked a corporate job. She showed up, did the minimum, and waited for raises that barely kept up with inflation. She saw her career as something outside her control. Mark, on the other hand, owned his path. At first, he worked in the same company as Lisa. But instead of coasting, he treated every day as training. He built relationships, learned new skills, and went the extra mile. Eventually, he started his own side business, applying what he learned. 20 years later, Lisa was still in the same job, frustrated with her stagnant salary. Mark had built a thriving business that employed dozens and provided him financial independence. The difference wasn't luck, it was ownership. Pause. Which path am I closer to? Lisa's or Mark's? Practical steps to own your career. Become invaluable. Learn skills that make you difficult to replace. Problem solving, leadership, communication. These always pay off. Seek mentors. Find people ahead of you and learn from their experience. Network wisely. Relationships open doors that skills alone cannot. Think like an owner. Even if you don't own the company, treat your work as if you do. Look for ways to create value, not just clock in and out. Leverage raises and promotions. Instead of inflating your lifestyle with every raise, Channel those increases directly into savings and investments. Steps toward business ownership. If the idea of starting your own business excites you, here are a few things to keep in mind. Start small. Many great businesses begin as side hustles. Test your idea before going all in. Focus on service. The best businesses solve problems and serve people, not just chase trends. Keep it simple. Ordinary businesses with steady demand often outperform flashy ideas. Reinvest wisely. Use profits to grow the business, not just your lifestyle. Play the long game. Businesses, like investments, need time and patience to grow. Pause and ask yourself, what skill, service, or idea could I turn into a business, even part-time? The fear factor. Many people never pursue business or career growth because of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of stepping outside the comfort zone. But here's what millionaires know. Fear never disappears. You move forward anyway. The pain of trying and failing is temporary. The pain of never trying lasts a lifetime. Your challenge. This week, I want you to take one step toward owning your earning power. If you're in a job, commit to learning one new skill that increases your value. If you've thought about a business, brainstorm one idea you could test on the side. If you're already running something, ask, what's one way I can make this stronger? Then, share your step in the comments. Your action could inspire someone else to stop waiting and start owning. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be the first to know when we dive into the next chapter. The takeaway. Millionaires don't wait for permission to grow. They own their careers, they own their businesses, and by doing so, they own their financial futures. Because here's the truth. If you don't own your path, someone else will. In the next chapter, we'll step into something even deeper. The connection between money and meaning. Because wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about what those numbers allow you to create, give, and become. Chapter 13. Money and meaning. Money is powerful. But here's something millionaires know that many people miss. Money is not the goal. Yes, money can buy comfort, security, and freedom. But beyond a certain point, more money doesn't automatically bring more happiness. What does bring lasting joy is meaning. Using money with purpose. Pause and ask yourself, what does money really mean to me? Freedom? Security? Status? Or something deeper? The myth of endless accumulation. Too many people chase money as if it's the ultimate prize. They tell themselves, if I just had more, then I'd finally be happy. But here's the paradox. The more we chase money without meaning, the emptier it feels. A bigger house becomes normal. A nicer car loses its shine. A higher salary gets absorbed by lifestyle inflation. That's why so many wealthy but unfulfilled people exist. They climbed the financial mountain, only to find the peak was foggy and lonely. The real secret? Money is not the destination. It's the vehicle. Redefining wealth through purpose. True millionaires don't just ask, how much money can I make? They ask, what can my money do for my life, my family, my community? They use wealth to create time for what matters most, support causes they believe in, leave a legacy for future generations, build freedom to pursue passions, not just paychecks. This is the moment where money transforms from numbers on a screen into fuel for a life of purpose. Pause for reflection. If I reached financial independence tomorrow, how would I use my time and resources? The science of giving and happiness. Research consistently shows that giving money away to causes, communities, or people in need increases happiness more than spending it on ourselves. Why? Because giving creates connection. It reminds us that wealth isn't just about us. It's about the impact we can have on others. Many millionaires live by this principle. They give generously, often quietly, without recognition. Their joy doesn't come from applause, but from knowing they've made a difference. A story of meaningful wealth. Let me tell you about Mary, a business owner who built a comfortable fortune. For years, she reinvested everything into growing her company. One day, she realized she had enough. Instead of chasing more, she shifted her focus. She started funding scholarships for underprivileged students. She supported local shelters. She spent more time with her family, traveled modestly, and poured energy into hobbies she loved. Mary discovered what many millionaires eventually do. Money is most rewarding when it's used to create meaning, not just to accumulate. Building your own definition of enough. Here's a question most people never ask. How much is enough? Without an answer, the chase never ends. But millionaires who find peace decide on a number, a lifestyle, or a goal that satisfies them. After that, money becomes about impact, not accumulation. Pause and ask yourself, if I defined enough for myself, what would that look like? What would I stop chasing? And what would I start focusing on? Practical ways to add meaning to money. Define your why. Write down why you want wealth. Is it for freedom, family, giving? Clarity changes everything. Set impact goals. Beyond financial goals, set impact goals. Maybe it's funding education, supporting your community, or leaving a legacy. Practice gratitude. Wealth without gratitude feels empty. Regularly remind yourself of what you already have. Give consistently. Even if it's small, start giving now. Generosity grows with practice, not just net worth. Spend on experiences, not just things. Research shows experiences bring more happiness than possessions. Prioritize memories over materials. Freedom and fulfillment. Here's the real power of financial freedom. It gives you the ability to align your time with your values. Imagine waking up and knowing you don't have to work for money. You get to work on what matters most to you. That's the intersection of money and meaning. And that's what makes all the discipline, all the saving, all the investing worth it. Your challenge. This week, I want you to think deeply about your why. Write down the reasons you want to build wealth. Not vague reasons like security or freedom, but specific ones. I want to retire early so I can spend more time with my kids. I want to give back to my community. I want to write, paint, travel, or mentor others. Then, share one of your whys in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to see money as more than numbers. And remember, if this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified when the next chapter drops. The takeaway: money without meaning is empty. But money with purpose becomes powerful. Millionaires who last, financially and emotionally, are those who know that wealth is a tool, not a trophy. In the next chapter, we'll look at the other side of the coin. The wealth killers. The traps, habits, and decisions that can quietly destroy everything you've worked for. Chapter 14. Avoiding the wealth killers. We've talked a lot about how to build wealth, saving, investing, mindset, habits. But here's the truth. It doesn't matter how much you build if you don't also protect it. Because lurking in the shadows are what I call wealth killers. Habits, decisions, and traps that can quietly drain your fortune and sabotage your freedom. Pause and ask yourself, what habits in my life might be quietly destroying my wealth right now? The silent assassins of wealth. Let's go through some of the biggest wealth killers you must learn to avoid. Debt addiction. Credit cards. Car loans. Buy now, pay later. These can feel like shortcuts to a better lifestyle. But in reality, they're chains. Every dollar paid in interest is a dollar stolen from your future. Impulse spending. Marketers spend billions studying how to trigger your impulses. Flash sales, limited offers, one-click checkouts, all designed to separate you from your money. Millionaires know this, and they fight back with discipline. Lifestyle inflation. As we covered before, raising expenses every time income grows is one of the fastest ways to stay broke. no matter how much you earn. Bad relationships. This one is rarely talked about but incredibly powerful. The wrong partner, friends, or business associates can drain your finances, your time, and your energy. Wealth is not built in toxic soil. Neglecting health. What good is money if you don't have the health to enjoy it? Poor health can devastate wealth through medical bills and lost earning power. Ignoring risk. Millionaires protect themselves with insurance, emergency funds, and smart diversification. Ignoring risk is like building a castle with no walls. Pause for reflection. Which of these killers have I let creep into my life? And what will it cost me if I don't stop? A tale of two futures. Let me tell you a quick story. John built a successful career. He earned six figures, saved diligently, and invested consistently. But he also carried huge credit card balances, leased luxury cars, and never stopped upgrading his home. Over time, the interest, payments, and debt piled up until his wealth collapsed. Meanwhile, Emily made less money but avoided these killers. She stayed out of debt, lived modestly, and built a strong emergency fund. 20 years later, John was broke and stressed. Emily was free and thriving. The difference? Emily built wealth and protected it. John built wealth and let the killers eat it away. How to defend your wealth. So how do you avoid these traps? Here are some strategies millionaires use. Destroy consumer debt quickly. Treat credit card balances like an emergency. Pay them off and stay out. Practice conscious spending. Before every purchase, ask, is this aligned with my values or is it just impulse? Set boundaries. Surround yourself with people who respect your goals, not those who pressure you to overspend. Invest in health, exercise, eat well, and rest. Millionaires know health is wealth. Insure smartly. Home, health, life, and disability insurance protect you from life's unpredictable storms. Diversify and prepare. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your risk. The trap of ego. One of the most dangerous wealth killers is ego. Ego says, I need to impress people. Ego says, I can handle this debt. Ego says, that won't happen to me. But millionaires know humility is safer. They'd rather look ordinary and be wealthy than look wealthy and be broke. Pause and ask yourself, where is ego influencing my financial choices? Practical action plan. Audit your finances. This week, write down every debt, expense, and risk you face. Awareness is step 1. Identify one wealth killer. Pick the biggest one hurting you right now and commit to eliminating it. Replace the killer with a builder. For example, replace impulse spending with automatic saving. Replace toxic relationships with mentors who inspire you. Your challenge. Here's your challenge this week. Write down the top wealth killer in your life right now. It might be debt. It might be overspending. It might be neglecting your health. Then, in the comments, share one step you're taking to fight it. By saying it out loud, you'll not only commit, you'll inspire others to do the same. And don't forget, if you're finding this valuable, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the upcoming chapters. The takeaway: building wealth is only half the battle. Protecting it is the other half. Wealth killers are sneaky, but they're not unstoppable. With awareness, discipline, and humility, you can eliminate them before they steal your future. Because remember, it's not just about becoming a millionaire next door, it's about staying one. In the next chapter, we'll put everything together into a powerful blueprint: how to become the millionaire next door, step by step, with an action plan you can follow starting today. Chapter 15. Becoming the millionaire next door. By now, you've learned the truth about wealth. It isn't flashy, it isn't overnight, and it isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's built quietly, patiently, and intentionally, often by ordinary people living in ordinary neighborhoods. That's why the idea of the millionaire next door is so powerful, because it shows us something life-changing. You don't have to be extraordinary to build extraordinary wealth. Pause and ask yourself, What's stopping me from becoming the millionaire next door in my own community? The millionaire next door profile. So what does a millionaire next door really look like? Let's paint the picture. They live below their means. They avoid debt traps. They invest steadily and consistently. They drive modest cars and live in affordable homes. They raise families with values of discipline and modesty. They don't flaunt their wealth. They grow it quietly. In short, they live simply so they can live freely. Ordinary people, extraordinary results. Here's the truth. Most millionaires are not celebrities, athletes, or Silicon Valley prodigies. They're teachers, small business owners, engineers, mechanics, nurses, and everyday people who practice the principles we've been talking about. And because they lived differently, they ended up with financial independence while others stayed stuck. Pause for reflection. Do I truly believe I can build wealth, even if my income feels modest right now? The blueprint. How to become the millionaire next door. Let's break this down into a step-by-step action plan you can start today. Shift your mindset. See wealth as freedom, not as flash. Reprogram your beliefs around money. Spend less than you earn, always, no exceptions. Make this the golden rule. Save and invest consistently. Automate it. Treat it as non-negotiable. Avoid debt, especially consumer debt. Pay off what you owe and stay out. Live modestly. Drive ordinary cars, live in a home you can truly afford. Skip the lifestyle race. Protect your wealth. Build emergency funds, get insurance, and diversify your investments. Keep learning. Study wealth building like a craft. Never stop improving. Build family wealth. Teach your kids. Align with your partner. Make money a shared mission. Give back. Use wealth for meaning, not just accumulation. The power of discipline and patience. Becoming the millionaire next door doesn't happen overnight. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. But it works. Every single time. The two greatest tools you have are discipline and patience. Discipline to make smart choices daily, and patience to let those choices compound over time. Pause and ask yourself, am I willing to stay patient and disciplined, even when it feels slow? A real-life example. I once met a woman named Karen, a librarian. She never earned more than $50,000 a year, but she lived modestly, invested consistently, and stayed out of debt. When she retired, she had a net worth of over $2 million. Nobody saw it coming. Neighbors assumed she struggled financially. In reality, she had been quietly building wealth for decades. That's the millionaire next door. Invisible, modest, but financially unstoppable. The emotional side of becoming wealthy. Here's something most financial books don't talk about. The emotional journey. At first, you may feel left out when friends upgrade their lifestyles while you save. You may feel invisible when you drive an older car or skip expensive vacations. But over time, you'll feel something far more powerful. Peace, confidence, freedom. You'll watch others struggle under debt and stress while you rest easy, knowing your future is secure. And one day, when people finally realize what you've built, they'll ask, "How did you do it?" And you'll smile, because the answer is simple. You became the millionaire next door. Your challenge. This week, create your own millionaire next door action plan. Write down 3 specific steps you'll take to live below your means. Write down your monthly savings and investment goal. Write down 1 wealth killer you'll eliminate starting today. Then, share one of your steps in the comments below. By sharing it, you'll not only commit, you'll inspire someone else who's watching this same video. And if you're committed to becoming the millionaire next door, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can walk this journey with us all the way to the end. The takeaway. Becoming the millionaire next door is not about luck. It's not about privilege. It's about choices. Daily, consistent, intentional choices. And the beauty is this. Anyone can do it. No matter where you start, you can decide today to take the first step. In the next and final chapter, we'll bring everything together into one powerful message. Your personal path to quiet riches. The closing encouragement that will help you step confidently into your own financial freedom. Chapter 16. Your Path to Quiet Riches. We've walked a long journey together. From debunking the millionaire myths to understanding the foundation of financial independence. From mindset to habits. From investing to family. From protecting wealth to living with purpose. And now, it's time to bring it all together. Your personal path to quiet riches. Pause and ask yourself, after everything I've heard, what's the one lesson that hit me the hardest? The beauty of ordinary wealth. Here's the truth. Becoming wealthy doesn't require brilliance, luck, or a miracle. It requires discipline, patience, and courage to live differently than the crowd. Because the real millionaires, the ones living right next door, don't live extraordinary lives on the surface. They live ordinary lives with extraordinary choices. They choose freedom over flash. They choose investing over spending. They choose peace over pressure. They choose legacy over lifestyle. Quietly, steadily, they build wealth that lasts. The choice before you. At this moment, you stand at a crossroads. One path is the crowded highway, constant upgrades, constant debt, constant stress. It looks exciting, but it leads to exhaustion and regret. The other path is quieter, humbler, less traveled. It's the path of discipline, patience, and intentional living. It leads to peace, security, and freedom. The question is, which path will you choose? Pause for reflection. If I kept living exactly as I am now, where would I be in 10 years? And if I started applying these principles today, how different could my life look in 10 years? Freedom is the ultimate goal. Let's be clear, money itself is not the finish line. Freedom is. Freedom to walk away from a toxic job. Freedom to spend time with your children or grandchildren. Freedom to travel, create, give, and live without fear. That's the real treasure of wealth. Not cars, not houses, not luxury, but the ability to design your life. Your millionaire blueprint. So here it is, your blueprint to quiet riches. Live below your means. Save and invest consistently. Avoid debt and protect your wealth. Build a career or business you own with pride. Teach and model financial wisdom at home. Practice stealth wealth. Value freedom over flex. Give your money meaning. Let it serve a purpose bigger than yourself. Simple, repeatable, proven. A story to remember. I once met a retired couple who had lived in the same modest house for 40 years. They never earned six-figure salaries. They never drove fancy cars. Their neighbors assumed they were average. When they retired, they revealed a net worth of over $4 million. Not because they were lucky, but because they made wise, consistent choices. That couple could be you. In fact, if you follow this path, it will be you. Your challenge. Here's your final challenge. Write down your personal vision of financial freedom. Not just a number, but a picture. What does your wealthy, free life look like? What choices will you make? What will you do with your time? Who will you impact? Then, in the comments below, share one piece of that vision. Inspire others who are walking this journey alongside you. And if you found value in this series, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because even though this book ends here, your journey continues. The takeaway wealth is not about looking rich. It's about living free. And the beautiful part is this: anyone can do it, starting today. Starting with one small decision, one small habit, one small step forward. So here's my invitation. Don't just listen. Don't just nod along. Take action. Become the millionaire next door in your own life. Because the millionaire next door isn't a stranger. It isn't just a neighbor. It isn't just a story. It's you.